When to use each factoring method in algebra. Imagine you're trying to solve a puzzle, and each piece fits differently depending on its shape. In algebra, polynomials are like puzzles, and choosing the right factoring method is key to solving them. Let's explore when to use each method so you can pick the best one for the job. First, always check if all the terms share a common factor. This is called factoring out the greatest common factor. If you see numbers or variables that divide all terms evenly, start here. It makes the polynomial simpler and easier to work with. For example, if you have three terms like 6x squared, 12x, and 18, you can factor out 6. This step is quick and often the first move. Next, if your polynomial has 4 or more terms, look for opportunities to group terms. This is called factoring by grouping. You want to pair terms that have a common factor. For example, if you see for terms like x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3x minus 6, you can group the first two and the last two. Factoring out the common factors from each group can reveal a common binomial, making the rest easier to handle. When you have a quadratic trinomial, which looks like a times x squared plus b times x plus c, you can try factoring it by finding two numbers that multiply to a times c, and add to b. This is called factoring trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. It works especially well when the leading coefficient is not 1. Once you find those numbers, split the middle term and factor by grouping. If your polynomial has two terms separated by a minus sign, like a squared minus b squared, you're dealing with a difference of two squares. This method is fast and straightforward. It factors into the product of two binomials, one with a minus and one with a plus. Recognizing this pattern saves you time. For perfect square trinomials, which look like a squared plus to a b plus b squared, you can factor them as the square of a binomial. For example, a squared plus for a b plus for b squared becomes a plus to b all squared. This pattern is common and easy to spot once you know what to look for. When your polynomial is a sum or difference of two perfect cubes, like a cubed plus b cubed or a cubed minus b cubed, use the special formulas. These formulas break the cubic into a binomial factor and a quadratic factor, making the problem much simpler. Recognizing perfect cubes is the key here. Lastly, there are some other methods like slide and divide or the sum of factors, which are more advanced and less common for beginners. These are useful for tricky higher-degree polynomials but are not your first go-to options. In summary, start by checking for a greatest common factor. Then look for patterns like difference of squares, perfect squares, or cubes. If none fit, try factoring trinomials or grouping terms. Knowing when to use each method makes solving polynomials much easier and helps you become more confident in algebra.